Donald Trump is falling apart at the seams. He is having a public meltdown of epic proportions after he was absolutely torched by former President Barack Obama in a series of speeches yesterday in Wisconsin and then in Michigan alongside rap superstar Eminem. Trump is feeling bitter and jealous and humiliated as he finds himself unable to match the momentum of the Harris campaign. My name is Brett Meiselas here with the MeidasTouch Network. Remember to hit subscribe. We are on our way to 3.5 million subscribers, and we can't get there without you. I think Doug Landry is putting it best. Doug Landry is an advanced guy in politics. That means he's one of the people who helps actually set up events before they get started. He's done this for President Biden and others. Doug Landry writes, Trump's campaign is showing signs of extreme strain in the last days, driven by the unsteadiness at the top of the ticket. Declining crowd, struggles to fill rallies, audio-visual problems, audio failing at events, canceling multiple interviews in 1 week due to stamina. Meanwhile, what do we have Donald Trump doing on the campaign trail? Well, Trump was in North Carolina yesterday, breaking out his new attack on former President Barack Obama. Get this, saying that Obama is too divisive, looks old, and is exhausted. I'm not making it up. Here's one of those clips from the Donald Trump rally. Watch this.
They're bringing out Obama. I say, oh, they did that with Hillary Clinton. Good, I'm glad they're bringing him out. The reason they're bringing him out, because he doesn't even want to do it. I think he's exhausted. I watched him talking. I think the guy's exhausted. And I never say a guy's looking old, but he's looking a little bit older, isn't he? You know, there's nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong. But he's exhausted.
And Trump's entire rally yesterday was just full-on projection. Him just saying things that could just be about himself, but him trying to accuse his opponents of the things that he is going through. Donald Trump yesterday also said, you know where Kamala Harris is? She must be sleeping. She's got no energy. Watch this.
That's a big group back there. You know where Kamala is today? They don't want to tell you. She's... No. You don't know where she is? You know where she is? She's sleeping. She took a day off. She's got no energy at all. Her speeches last for about 15 minutes.
Here's Donald Trump yesterday, that same day, earlier in the day. He had to hold this emergency event in Florida for some reason. I think he is panicking a little bit over there. And Donald Trump appeared to be falling asleep during that event. Watch this.
For the kill of his wife. But, you know, this is the root cause. The root cause is greed and power. And we have a president who loves us. You know, we're exploiting our children. But something happened after...
Trump yesterday also abruptly canceled yet another event, this time a virtual roundtable amid reports of his exhaustion. So we're going to see now Donald Trump continue to project his weaknesses on his opponents over and over again. I got to show you this headline too, which I don't think has received enough attention. This is from HuffPost. They say, doctor who wrote the Goldwater Rule says he would recommend dementia tests for Trump. An author of the 1973 American Psychiatric Association standard. This is the one that says that doctors basically shouldn't be diagnosing folks who aren't their patients, is like a simple way of putting it. It says it was never meant to stop doctors from expressing their opinions based on public information, and saying basically that psychiatrists should be diagnosing Donald Trump due to the public information that is out there. Here's more projection from Donald Trump saying that Vice President Harris is a stupid person.
She's a stupid person.
Speaking of stupid people, here is Donald Trump very shortly after that, talking about his experience pretending to work at McDonald's and forgetting the word fryer. Watch this.
And those French fries were good. They were good. They were right out of the, they were right out of whatever the hell they may come out of, but they were... No, but think of it, and the press refuses to...
And Trump is so jealous of Vice President Harris's crowd, so jealous of President Barack Obama's crowd, and so jealous of the celebrities who are coming out to support Vice President Harris's candidacy for the president of the United States. So Donald Trump at his rally said, I never even heard of these stars, and they can't even get crowds like me.
You know, the reason they bring them out, and other people, they're bringing out all these other people. You know, nobody goes to their rallies. Nobody goes there. So you know what they do? They bring in so-called stars that I've never even heard of. You know, these are not stars to me. These are not stars to me, but they bring out some people. And what happens is the star comes in, they get a little bit of a crowd. They don't get crowds like this, and they have guitars. I don't, okay? I got nothing up here.
And former President Barack Obama knows how to get under Donald Trump's skin. It's not that hard. I'm not going to lie about it, but here is Barack Obama in Detroit saying, hey, I heard there was another rally at this location last Friday, but it was a little smaller than this one.
Now, I heard there was another rally here on Friday night, but it was a little smaller than this one.
Trump, being incredibly triggered by statements like that, took to his interviews and started saying that I'm not tired, and they say my crowds aren't big, my crowds are big.
She actually said, oh, Trump is getting tired. I'm not getting tired. She's getting tired. She's the one that's not working. Now, if I go and criticize something, they said, the media goes, oh, he's played right into her hands. You know, it's, in other words, if you defend yourself, like in the debates, you said things that, maybe my crowds weren't as big as I was saying. I said, no, not only are they big, I turn away people for every rally. So I say that, and they go, he played right into her hand. Well, what are you supposed to do? Just let him say it. It is so.
I mean, this is just the most insecure person in the entire world. I mean, the guy is just so incredibly pathetic. But speaking of crowds, let me show you the line for Obama's rally in Detroit, which wrapped around several blocks, and this was hours before the event began. Watch this. By the way, the venue where former President Barack Obama spoke in Detroit was the same exact venue where Donald Trump spoke last Friday. Remember when he couldn't fill the venue up and it was more than half empty and they had to compress the crowd into the front of the place to make it look somewhat full on camera? Well, let me show you here for reference. On the left here, you see a photo of the Harris Walls rally with former President Barack Obama and Eminem. And then on the right, you see the same exact location with Donald Trump while Trump was speaking. And you could see all that empty space. This is in Detroit. That's in a key swing state of Michigan. And these are the crowds that we are seeing there. And if you don't remember, let me remind you of this clip that CNN played when they were reporting on the fact that Donald Trump was not able to fill the room.
That's right. So we are here in downtown Detroit. We're in this pretty large venue. You can't really tell, Aaron, from where you are. I mean, right behind me, you can see the crowd. But behind the camera, where I'm speaking toward, it's actually pretty empty. They have not been able to fill this. And I'll also tell you that it took us more than 2 hours. They were 2 hours delayed in getting us into the venue today. And so there are questions about, I'm told it was not a security issue, according to two Secret Service officials. So questions about whether they were, changing some of the optics in here.
And speaking of Trump being jealous of Vice President Harris getting support from all these celebrities, here was Eminem introducing former President Barack Obama in Detroit yesterday. Watch this.
Detroit! What up, though? So look, I wrote down a few things I wanted to say. I love you too. Thank you. I'm here tonight for a couple of important reasons. As most of you know, the city of Detroit and the whole state of Michigan mean a lot to me. And going into this election, the spotlight is on us more than ever, and I think it's important to use your voice. So I'm encouraging everybody to get out and vote, please. I also think that people shouldn't be afraid to express their opinions. And I don't think anyone wants an America where people are worried about retribution or what people will do if you make your opinion known. I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld. And here to tell you much more about that, President Barack Obama.
Oh, you never heard of Eminem, Donald?
Slim Shady is a winner.
Oh, I'm sorry, is he not as big as Ted Nugent or Kid Rock for you? What about Bruce Springsteen, the boss, who is hosting a Get Out the Vote concert in Philadelphia with former President Barack Obama on Monday, October 28th? Is that big enough for you? I got to show you this clip, by the way. This was in Detroit. This was Obama rapping to an Eminem song, Lose Yourself, when he took the stage. Watch this.
I got to say, you know, I have done a lot of rallies, so I don't usually get nervous. But I was feeling some kind of way following Eminem. Now I notice my palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting. Dun, 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 dun. I thought Eminem was going to be performing. I was going to jump out.
During his speech, Obama spoke about how Vice President Harris was actually raised in the middle class and actually worked at McDonald's while Donald Trump just pretended to work at McDonald's with his stunt. Watch this.
Somebody who was raised in the middle class. She worked at McDonald's when she was in college to pay her expenses. She did not pretend to work at McDonald's when it was closed. This is somebody who believes in the values that built this country. And she is as prepared as any nominee for president has ever been. That's who Kamala is.
And it was all these comments from Obama on the campaign trail that were driving Trump absolutely nuts. So this is a real thing that Donald Trump said yesterday in North Carolina. Like, I'm not even making this up. He said that Kim Jong-un thought Obama was a jerk, and so does he. Therefore, ha.
He's a fierce man. I get along with him very well. Putin. These are people that are tough people. Kim Jong-un, North Korea, nuclear weapons all over the place. I said, you ever do anything else? Go to a game, do something, you know. He loves producing nuclear weapons. That's what he likes producing. And he's got a lot of them. And he has no respect for our leadership now. And he didn't respect Obama. He thought Obama was a real jerk. A real jerk. And I think he's a real jerk because I've watched him campaign over the last couple of days. I watched him campaign. What a divider he is, right? What a divider he is. He'd divide this country. He couldn't care less. Him and his little group of people. He was terrible.
He's just so insane. And the projection is just off the charts. A divider? Really? You're the guy who's calling Americans the enemy within and threatening to sic the military on people who oppose you. Let's go back to Barack Obama, a little bit of a palate cleanse here. Here's Barack Obama mocking Donald Trump for his disastrous town hall the other day.
The other day he had a town hall meeting. Now, I've done my share of town hall meetings. My experience is the goal of the town hall meeting is you meet with your constituents, with citizens, with voters. You answer their questions. He decided, no, I'm not going to answer questions anymore. Let's just play music for half an hour. So he's standing there and he's swaying to Ave Maria and YMCA. And you know, the governor from South Dakota, she's standing there with this weird look on her face like she doesn't really know what's going on. She's like, it's like a hostage video.
Now let's contrast that with more utter projection from Donald Trump. Trump saying that Vice President Harris is unfit for office and that something's clearly wrong with her.
And something is clearly wrong with her. Something is wrong with her. Something's wrong with her, and something's wrong with this vice president. He is off.
Do you think Trump just stands in front of a mirror and goes like, what are the insults that people would say about me? And then he says them about other people? Because it sure sounds that way every time we hear him speak. Meanwhile, you want to speak about running mates and vice presidential picks? Here's J.D. Vance yesterday speaking, and his podium completely falls apart, and then he blames it on Vice President Kamala Harris. And this guy's the worst. Watch.
And ask yourself what you can do from now until then to make sure it doesn't happen. That if there's a... Kamala Harris put that sign up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, she did. She's already trying to steal the 2024 election right here in this beautiful facility.
Vice President Harris yesterday did a few interviews, one of which was on NBC News. And I gotta say, some of these reporters just do such a terrible job. Like this reporter who asked Vice President Harris if she would pardon Donald Trump should she be elected president in the United States. I love the way that Vice President Harris answered this. Watch.
It is entirely possible that the federal court cases against the former president will continue on. He is, of course, facing those felony charges. Would you consider, if you win and he's convicted, a pardon for former President Trump?
I'm not going to get into those hypotheticals. I'm focused on the next 14 days.
But do you believe, is there any part of you that subscribes to the argument that has been made in the past that a pardon could help bring America together, could help unify the country and move on?
Let me tell you what's going to help us move on. I get elected president of the United States.
And then they always try to frame everything through the lens of Trump. Trump said this about you. Trump is running these ads about you. How do you respond? I love the way that Vice President Harris answered this question about Trump's ads and how she took it and used it as an opportunity to say what she wanted to do for the American people. Watch.
That Donald Trump is running tens of millions of dollars in ads to talk about two cases, to distract from the fact that his policy and plan is also to take away the Affordable Care Act, which provides health care for tens of millions of people in our country. That his plan is to undo the $35 a month cap on insulin that impacts millions of seniors in our country. That his plan is to do away with the $2,000 cap on prescription medication, the annual cap. That his plan is to get rid of the Department of Education, which would mean getting rid of Head Start. That his plan is to give tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations and on the backs of middle-class working people. So let's not get distracted by the issues that, to your point from the introductory point you raised, people want to know that their president has a plan.
And frankly, while there are some exceptions to the rule, overall, the press right now is completely and utterly failing us. There's all these stories right now that there's all this momentum for Trump and momentum for the Republican Party. It's simply not true. It's not true even the slightest bit. And so I want to bring up these polls only due to that reporting. Yesterday, these two new polls came out, one from Reuters, which had Harris up 3, and one from Morning Consult that had Harris up 4. And the reason why I want to bring these up is because these polls have been unchanged now for like about 6 weeks. This race has been incredibly stable, and all this talk about momentum is just due to Donald Trump's own bluster, I guess, and these BS betting markets and this flood the zone strategy of adding all these fake polls to the averages. It simply doesn't exist, and we see this every single election cycle. I want to show you these two headlines right now. Check this out. Here's one from Politico. Making sense of the GOP's October surge. The New York Times opinion. Why Republicans are surging. Do you notice anything? I'll give you 1 second. I'm not sure if you caught it, but these are articles that were written at the end of October 2022. Every election cycle, they try to bring back up this red wave narrative that has not materialized. There was no red wave in 2022, and they're trying to pull the same stunts again, so don't fall for it. I want to show you some actual hard data, though, that we're seeing. Texas is seeing record early voting numbers, and particularly in Democratic-leaning areas. Let me show you this line of voters in Wisconsin on the first day of early voting yesterday. Check this out. This is from Milwaukee. Watch.
We'll have one for you too. And we need to have a very late.
And speaking of Wisconsin, one of the events that former President Barack Obama held yesterday with Tim Walz was in Madison, Wisconsin. And I just want you to take a look at this crowd, this packed arena with thousands of people there. I mean, this is momentum, this is joy, this is actual energy, and we are not seeing this at Trump's events anymore. We are seeing quite the opposite. In fact, let me also show you this. Here are the Pennsylvania early vote numbers. You're going to notice something here, that Democrats are absolutely crushing it. And Democrats aren't expected to be crushing it in this early vote game, but Democrats are up in ballots right now, and ballots submitted by 348,198 ballots. And this was yesterday. So this gap, this firewall that Democrats are building is probably even much greater at the time that you are watching this right now. And as a reminder, this doesn't tell you who the votes are actually for. This is just telling you who is submitting ballots by party affiliation. So you could also surmise that some of those GOP ballots that are being submitted will also be for Vice President Kamala Harris, and that a lot of those independent ballots that are being submitted will also be votes for Vice President Kamala Harris. And then I want to compare and contrast a couple of headlines for you. This is a report in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, which says the U.S. economy again leads the world. IMF says the International Monetary Fund upgrades U.S. growth outlook as strong investment boosts productivity. Let me read you a little bit from this. The IMF projects U.S. gross domestic product to expand 2.5% in the fourth quarter from a year earlier, half a percentage point higher than a July forecast, which itself was an upgrade from a January estimate. U.S. output rose 3.2% in 2023. That would be the fastest among the group of 7 major advanced economies. Global output is now projected to grow 3.3% this year, a smidgen above the prior estimate. Focusing just on wealthy nations, the U.S. is increasingly ahead. Advanced economies as a whole are expected to expand 1.9% this year after growing 1.7% last year. For 2025, the IMF projects the U.S. to grow 1.9% versus 1.7% for all advanced economies and 3.1% for the global economy. So the U.S. economy, once again, is leading the world by far, thanks to the Biden-Harris administration. Now let's look at the headlines that Donald Trump is getting. This is on the front of the Drudge Report, which is a right-leaning website. Trump: Hitler did some good things. Blame the Jews if I lose. And this latest story comes from new audio from Donald Trump's own chief of staff, John Kelly, who used to be a Marine general, who revealed that Donald Trump would say that Hitler did some good things and that Donald Trump is a fascist. These are the headlines we are seeing about Donald Trump. We are also seeing headlines like this in The Atlantic. Trump, quote, I need the kind of generals that Hitler had. The Republican nominee's preoccupation with dictators and his disdain for the American military is deepening. And this article explores how Donald Trump said to his staff that he wanted them to hire generals that would give him undying loyalty over the Constitution of the United States. So, America, you have a very clear choice. It's never been this clear, in fact, I don't think. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Don't let it slip. My name is Brett Meiselas with the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit subscribe, help us get to 3.5 million subscribers. If you like these reports, go ahead and check out the MeidasTouch podcast on audio podcasts. We put posts like this there every single day, multiple times a day, so you're always caught up to the news. Add it on Apple, on Spotify, or whatever you use. And if you can, leave us a 5-star review. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.